Okay, this will be a tutorial on how to change the assignment categories to reflect how we are operating our syllabus point spread. And if you recall, it's 10 points for notebooks, 5 and 5, a lecture booklet 5, homework log 5. Then we have open notes quizzes is 10%. And then we have the actual homework, which is 10%. And then there's 40% for the test. Again, we're going to throw out one low grade later. And then 30% for the final. So right now in the shell course, it doesn't have those quantities listed in that order. So I was able to check with Sal, and he showed me to a degree how to do it. Now, some things are built into the program, so we're going to have to delete things and set up some new categories, but this is how it's done. So take some notes. If I were someone interested in this, you go down here to our class page and then assignments. Now this is dulled out so that students don't see this, but if we can click on it, so we click on it, and then we get this page that comes up. And this is where you can modify assignments. So there is a category entitled Notebook /workbook. Now there were some other things in here before, and I took them out. But I've included now the homework log, which I'm stating as 50 points, lecture log as 50 points, and when I graded in terms of 1 to 5. So if I have a 5 written in my grade book, I enter it as a 50. So that's, I think, easy to do, and I'll show you that in a moment here. And the same thing for the lecture log. Now, the total for this is correct. This is 10%. Now, there are other things in here. Attendance was in here. And we don't use attendance in our grade. We're using the quizzes as sort of an attendance thing. All right, then we have another category called assignments. And that's where media is going. I had to move them. And then, of course, the actual assignments. And this is 10% of the grade. Now, testing remains the same. We have the test listed here as 100 points each. And I see they are giving some credit for self-assessments. I guess if they're done, you get some points, but all of this only adds up to 81, so doesn't nearly affect as much as a test score would. I'm not quite sure if they do have an effect on the grade or not. There's the final, 30% of the total. And here's a new category that I've created. I took it out of the former assignments and made a new category that's called Open Notes Quizzes. And then in that category, I have Open Notes Quizzes that are worth 100 points. Now, theoretically, if you wanted to put every single quiz score in there, you could, but I wait till mid-semester and then the end of the term to put in the average, so you only have to put it in once. Okay, let's go back here, and now we'll look at grades. So I click on the grade button, and then this is what comes up. So I'm not sure how to change this order, but first it's homework log. 50 out of 50, you just manually put that in. And here this person had some extra credit. They did such a good job. This is the lecture booklet. And here this one hasn't showed it to me yet. So they have a 0. But they can still show it. And they can do some work to increase these scores. Because all of these can be changed. This is for midterm right now. And then there's some of the media scores that were filled in. I'm going to move it over. And then we get to homework. And students can still work on homework to change that grade, even beyond the due date. The thing is, if it's not in by the due date, I put zeros in there. I manually put in these zeros. And this isn't due yet, so I haven't put any grades in there yet. So we continue, just scrolling. Now, there's the Unit 1 self-assessment that students had done. Unit 3 self-assessment isn't due yet. They've done Unit 2 self-assessment. If they didn't do it, I put in a 0. Now there's Test 1 and Test 2. And again, if they didn't take a test, I put in a 0. But all the students took a test. And then we get to Open Notes Quizzes, where I've put in the average. Now in this area, these darkened areas, somewhat bluer than this, is like the summary of this work over here is there. So their notebook grades from an earlier part, their quiz scores, you see, match up with this column. 10% assignments are this column. Test average of the 2 tests they've taken is this column. And now this gives you a total grade. So at this time, this should reflect a midterm grade or their current grade as you keep this part up. But now, how do we change this? This is what I have. So we're going to pause here. I'm going to go to another section where I still have to make changes, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, we're in our other section, or my other section, and in section 16, Sal and I worked on this a little bit. He was showing me things, but it wasn't working out too well, so I suggest we modify it this way. So notice, Notebook Workbook is a good title, and it's worth 10%. But we don't want media in there. Media should go in the assignments. So how do we get rid of one or switch sections? So we go over here to the end, click on this, and then we have this choice here to move to. So we click on that, and then we're going to go up here to this drop-down menu, move to homework and quizzes. So we click on that, and then we move it, click on this, and then now that one's gone. So anything we wanted to move out of this, we'd have to do what I've just done. Let me move this out. So I'm going over here to these 3 dots, click on it, say move to, and Notebook Workbook, I'm going to select Homework Quizzes. Click on that, and then I move that out. Click on this. So I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm going to do it and then come back to you. Okay, I did all of that for the media. Now, syllabus agreement, we didn't particularly use that, and that's worth 5 points. So I'm going to delete that. So again, I go to the end here, and I delete it. It's asking me for confirmation. I click OK. So probably, you see now it's gone. Now, attendance, they're counting as 100 points. And I don't use attendance. We're using the quizzes as sort of our attendance. So I'm going to delete that also. Now again, you have a choice to do whatever you want, but I think a good idea would be to delete it. Now, for homework, and I should say notebook, workbook, we now have a homework log that's worth 5 points and a lecture log that's worth 5 points. Now, I want these to be worth 50 points. So I'm going to click on this, I think. Is that the one I click on? No. Maybe it's over here. Edit. Yeah, there it is. I click on this. And where it says 5 points, I'm going to click 50. Oh, let's see. I have to just add a 0 there. All right, 50 points. Save that. And then I go to the other one, and I guess it's here again. Edit. And I put 50 there. And I save that. Now, I had to add these. And I added them by, once I'm in a group like this, I just click Add Assignments. I'm going to show you that in another group, but we had already added that here, and in my other class I added it earlier. So now notebook, workbook is okay. That's what we want in it. Each are worth 50 points, and that's 10% of their total grade. Now we're going to go to quizzes and homework. Well, I don't like this particular title here. I want this just to be homework. I'm going to put quizzes in a separate category. So I want to create a new category called Open Notes Quizzes. So I go up here to Group, click on that, and I'm going to add an assignment group. So this is going to be, and it remembers because I did it in the other section, Open Notes Quizzes, which are going to be 10% of their total grade. So I'm going to click Save. Now, this category is way down at the bottom, but now I don't want quizzes to appear here anymore. So I'm going to go over to the 3 buttons, click on Edit, and I'm going to take out the word quizzes. As I'm doing. So it's only homework. And I want homework to be 10% of the grade. So I click on that, and it's saving it. So now this category is homework. It's 10% of the grade. Notebooks, 10% of the grade. So now we go down, and all of these now are homework items. Now, we had added the quizzes here before, but I wanted a special section for this, which I've now made. So I'm going to delete this one. This wouldn't be on yours. This is a change we made earlier. I'm just going to say delete. Confirmation, okay. So now that's gone. Now, test, I don't have to change anything. That's 40% of the grade, right there. Final exam, 30% of the grade. And now I have this category that I just made down at the bottom. It's 10% of the grade. Open Notes Quizzes, but that's just a category. I have to click on this plus now to make an assignment. And it's in Quiz, that's the category, and the name of it is going to be Open Notes Quiz. No due dates, and the value of it, the points, is 100%. And I'm going to save that. Now, notice it's here. I now have an item under the category topic. So it's 10% of the total, but there's no little green dot there. I have to click on that dot to publish it. Okay. So this one was a little easier because I knew what I was doing. So I now have open notes quizzes, 10%. Final, 30%. That's 40%. I go here for test, that's 40%. So that's 80%. Homework, have everything I want in homework is 10%. And our notebooks, 10%. There's our 100%. And I've modified this now to reflect what I want. So, now I go to grades. And I'll see now all of these homework log. I can now manually put that in. Lecture log, put that in. And then media, students will do and earn as they do that. I'm going to scroll over. Again, if they haven't done something, this was what I used up to midterm. And this person, yeah, I'm not going to put any zeros there because this person doesn't have a textbook. So the ones that don't have a textbook, I'm not putting 0 in because I'm doing those PowerPoint slides and then checking that. So I may put some sort of score there, or if there's nothing there, it's not counted. So, continue to scroll. Self-assessments, there's 1, there's 3 we haven't done, there's 2. I don't know why they're out of order a little bit, but that's not significant. There's the test 1, test 2. I don't have final exams. Now, I haven't put the notebook grades in yet. So that's something I have to do. I mean, the open notes quizzes here. I will do that. And then once all that is in, theoretically, these scores over here should reflect a better average of what we're doing in class. Okay, well, this is running about 17 minutes, almost 18. Hopefully it's healthy and helpful, and what you want to do to change so that your canvas relates to the syllabus and the data we are getting from our students as we develop grades.